The second issue is this mass deportation camps, the gulags have begun, etc. Now, look, I think that the clip that Francesca's using is misleading and totally out of context, but that's okay. But I know that...
No, it's not okay. No, it's not okay. That dishonesty is not okay. Yeah, but continue. Go ahead.
I hear you. I hear you. I don't mean to
but she's getting the likes that she wants, right? Otherwise, I mean, who would pay attention to anything she's doing if she's not attacking TYT? But anyway, continue, Jane.
Yeah. All right.
And she put him in an awkward position at that moment because she's... Okay, I'll come back to why I feel like she did. Let's just go back to Cenk explaining what's going on. Fine, because this isn't a talk show quite yet.
So I want you guys to know why I'm doing that and how this whole situation isn't really about Francesca. It's about TYT, our community, and what we stand for. And so we're for open minds and open hearts. And so I want all of you to know that, and I want to build a community that believes in that and invites people in that believe in the same things. And by the way, if you don't believe in the same things and you say, no, I have a strict ideology and I have no open mind about that, no problem. There are tons of shows out there for you guys. So first of all, we've had some disagreements.
He can't keep saying it like that. These people, they're going to fleece viewers. They're getting a young crowd, bro. Like, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the thing about the young crowd is that they are either extremely left or extremely right. And believe it or not, they meet in the middle. It's like that horseshoe thing. Yes. So don't get scared. And I don't mean extremely left, like, oh, everybody's trans, everybody's like, no, I mean in their thinking of like Medicare for all. And like, you know, when people start really realizing how much we do outside of the country and that we should be doing for our own people, these young kids, they've realized like, nah, this doesn't work. So it's two like crowds that are meeting in the middle. Believe me. So for him to say, if this isn't the show for you, you could watch something else. They are watching something else, Cenk.
I certainly have with some of the far left, but I think they've been relatively small. But if you think that they've been large, no problem. So they've been around the issue of crime. Did crime rise between 2019 and 2023? Well, that's a fact. It did. But it's okay. We could have different interpretations of it. That's not an issue at all. We certainly are against police abuse, and we've fought against it. I would argue at least as much as any show on the planet, and perhaps a lot more. And I take great pride that Benjamin Crump, among others, said that Trayvon Martin would not have gotten anywhere near the national coverage that he did if it wasn't for
what is he getting into? Like, let's just get it right into, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I guess what his thing is that he's, okay, let me just go and show this fight, and then I'm going to show a little bit about what Francesca had to say, because he went back to 2013, and I'm not coming for Cenk about that, but, like, we are trying to figure out what's going on today.
The book by, I think his name is Michael Schneider, on tyranny. And he wrote, it's like 20 lessons from the 20th century about authoritarianism and fascism. And one of the things that has come to mind when you say, my strategy will protect us, is he has this chapter, I'm going to bring it up, the first part of it, called Do Not Obey in Advance. And he writes, most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do. In other words, you don't have to do the sort of crackdown on the left around speech because I'm going to do it for you. Or you don't have to come to me.
Again, you're misstating it. I'm doing the exact opposite. You're cracking down by saying, Cenk, you're out of bounds. So you should stop your stupid opinion. And because you're implicating me.
I can't believe that a guy who I used to admire and who I thought had a lot of fight is trying to scratch the back of people who absolutely would never do the same for them.
So we just spent an hour and a half me explaining how I'm not scratching their back. I'm trying to get.
But I can show you one.
But you are scratching their back, Cenk. I'm sorry. Believe me. Look, me and Francesca will probably only agree on Israel. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it real. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend I'm too. She's my age though. But at the same time, it's like she could do her thing, I do my thing, right? Because we certainly don't agree on Ukraine, which is really weird because for her to be on the left, I don't understand this whole leftist Ukraine thing. It's like, it's really, because usually liberals, they know more about geopolitics than definitely the right. Okay, digressed. All right. So, but for Cenk to say he's not trying to scratch up, yes, you are. Bro, you out there talking to Glenn Beck, and you're so late with it. Like, to be honest, people on the right who are like moving away from this so-called MAGA world, this so-called WN, they are, they're not looking towards Glenn Beck anymore, Cenk. Glenn Beck is yesterday's news. Nobody's trying to be disrespectful here, but people are really, Israel really opened a lot of people's eyes. It just did.
Things started to turn for TYT politically. And this started happening around the pandemic. Around the pandemic, Ana Kasparian seemed to become focused on the issue of homelessness, especially in a city that I used to call home, which is San Francisco. She had an objectively scary experience with an unhoused person, and in fact, I went back to see when she told her audience about this. And I do remember the day that Ana told the story on air. In fact, I was also on after she told that story, but I didn't hear it at the time. It was within an interview that she was doing with an author by the name of Michael Schellenberger, who had written the book San Francisco, Why Progressives Are Ruining Cities. Instead of focusing on housing market prices, on how homelessness often leads to things like addiction and mental illness, Schellenberger focuses on Democrats who thinks go too easy on the unhoused. I remember that I jumped onto the show right after he got off, after that interview, and the TYT audience was really pissed because they felt like the framing and the platforming of someone like Schellenberger was a disservice to the issue of homelessness, mental illness, and addiction. Ana apparently took that as the chat downplaying what happened to her rather than how the issues were presented. She's since gone on right-wing shows like Glenn Beck, Piers Morgan, and Jillian Michaels, among others, to retell this story and use it as rationale for why she feels the left left her, that maybe she's never been left, why she's politically homeless, or, politically unhoused.
Cenk made a bad, I saw this coming. Cenk really dropped the ball with this one. This is going to be TYT's Candace Owens moment. She would be mad to be compared to Candace Owens, but this is the Candace Owens moment of the left. It is. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, like Candace Owens, after the Daily Wire shut her down for Israel, they've been tanking since then. He should have really thought twice about this one. This tweet, as it happened with Emma Vigeland and Sam Cedar, Benjamin Dixon, Mandela Robinson, and Dan from the Web, or part-time, full-time editor Hank Thompson, or allies like David Dole and Humanist Report, and too many others to name. So it goes with me. Now, please enjoy this TYT. It's going to go there. We're going to cover this. Guys. This is crazy. This is bad. Cenk really played himself with this one. Like, he literally gave himself an unnecessary... I mean, you want to talk about an unforced error? Like, if she asked to remove the thing, I get that. Because it's like, look, we're not on the same page. But I will still cover for you. I still got your back. You know, like, hey, you need somebody to fill in. It's all good. But complete unforced error.